In the history of the Premier League, 202 clean sheets was once seen as a target. Today, it feels more like a statistical impossibility. Modern football has become a storm of high pressing, relentless attacking patterns, and tactical chaos that leaves goalkeepers under constant pressure. The job description of a goalkeeper has changed. The game itself has changed. Yet one number still stands untouched in the Premier League record books. 202 clean sheets. A record set by Petr Čech. And the deeper you examine it, the more one thing becomes clear. This may be one of the very few football records that the modern game simply cannot reproduce.
Who's the player that walked in and we both went?
Two players for me stand out. Petr Čech was incredible.
The impossible number. To understand how extraordinary this number is, you have to look at the scale of the gap. Petr Čech ended his Premier League career with 202 clean sheets in 443 appearances. That means he kept a clean sheet in almost half of the matches he ever played in England's top division. Now compare that with the best goalkeepers of the modern era. David Raya, widely considered one of the Premier League's best shot stoppers of the last decade, finished his United career with 147 clean sheets. Edwin van der Sar, another legendary goalkeeper, retired with 132. Peter Schmeichel, one of the greatest of all time, had 128. Even today's elite goalkeepers are far from the mark. Alisson and Ederson have been dominant for Liverpool and Manchester City respectively, yet they still have over 100 clean sheets to go before even approaching Čech's total. And when you zoom in on individual seasons, the gap becomes even more staggering. During the 2004/2005 Premier League season, Petr Čech helped Chelsea concede just 15 goals in 38 games. 15. In today's Premier League, many teams concede that many goals before the season even reaches December. That year, Čech kept 24 clean sheets, which remains the Premier League record for a single season. It wasn't just good, it was statistically absurd. The blueprint of the human shield. But numbers alone don't explain how Petr Čech built such an incredible record. To understand that, you have to look at how he played the position. Physically, Čech was built like the prototype of the modern goalkeeper. Standing at 6'5", with long reach and exceptional balance, he dominated his penalty area. Crosses were claimed early. Through balls were intercepted quickly. And attackers often found themselves facing a goalkeeper who had already positioned himself perfectly before the shot was even taken. Čech's positional awareness was one of his greatest strengths. Where many goalkeepers rely purely on reflexes, Čech relied on anticipation. He read the game seconds before it unfolded, which meant that when the shot finally came, he was already in the optimal position to stop it. But perhaps the most underrated part of his game was his mental discipline. In Mourinho's Chelsea system, there were many matches where Čech faced only 1 or 2 shots on target. For a goalkeeper, those are the most dangerous games, because staying mentally locked in for 90 minutes when nothing is happening requires incredible concentration. One moment of distraction, and the clean sheet disappears. Yet week after week, season after season, Čech maintained his focus, and behind him stood a defensive unit that became legendary. John Terry, Ricardo Carvalho, Claude Makelele shielding the backline. It was a system built on defensive organization and communication, and Čech was the voice that held it together. He didn't just stop goals, he helped prevent them from ever happening. The helmet and the comeback. Another chapter of Čech's career makes his record even more remarkable. In 2006, during a match against Reading, Čech suffered one of the most serious injuries ever seen on a football pitch. A collision with Stephen Hunt fractured his skull. For a moment, it looked like his career might be over. Goalkeepers rely on fearlessness, the willingness to dive at an attacker's feet without hesitation. After such a traumatic injury, many players would never fully recover psychologically. But Čech returned just 3 months later. Wearing the now iconic protective helmet, he resumed his career at the highest level. And incredibly, his performances barely declined. If anything, his composure and focus seemed even stronger. The helmet became a symbol, not of vulnerability, but of resilience. And the clean sheets kept coming. The death of the low block. However, the biggest reason Čech's record may never be broken lies in the way football itself has evolved. In the mid-2000s, many elite teams were built around defensive stability. José Mourinho's Chelsea was the perfect example. The team defended deep, stayed compact, and prioritized structure above all else. Fullbacks rarely pushed too far forward. Midfielders protected the defense. And the entire system was designed to minimize defensive exposure. Modern football operates very differently. Today's tactical trends prioritize high defensive lines, aggressive pressing, and attacking overloads. Fullbacks now invert into midfield. Center backs spread wide during build-up. And goalkeepers are expected to participate in possession like outfield players. This is where the modern concept of the sweeper keeper comes into play. Goalkeepers are now required to leave their box, play risky passes under pressure, and defend huge spaces behind the defensive line. It's a role filled with far more unpredictability. And with unpredictability comes mistakes. Mistakes that often lead directly to goals. An era of volatility. The modern Premier League environment only amplifies this difficulty. The league has become more competitive and more attacking than ever before. Even mid-table teams now possess the technical quality and tactical structure to break down elite defenses. On top of that, modern rule changes have increased volatility. VAR decisions can award penalties in situations that would have gone unnoticed a decade ago. Referees now add 8 to 10 minutes of stoppage time, dramatically increasing the window in which a late goal can destroy a clean sheet. The margin for defensive perfection has become razor-thin. Just look at modern goalkeepers like David Raya at Arsenal. Under Mikel Arteta, Arsenal have one of the most organized defensive systems in the league. Yet Raya still faces constant attacking pressure, quick transitions, and high defensive lines that expose him to far more unpredictable situations than goalkeepers of the past. Even the best defensive teams today rarely maintain the level of control that Mourinho's Chelsea once had, which makes long-term clean sheet consistency far harder to achieve. The eternal benchmark. And this is why Petr Čech'S record feels almost untouchable. It wasn't just about a great goalkeeper. It was about the perfect combination of individual brilliance and tactical timing. Cech was an elite shot stopper with exceptional positioning and mental focus. But he also played in an era where defensive structure was prioritized above everything else. Together, those factors created a perfect storm that allowed him to build one of the most extraordinary records in football history. Because the game has moved on, the goalkeeper's role has evolved, and the Premier League has become faster, more chaotic, and more unpredictable. Strikers will get faster. Tactics will continue to evolve. But Petr Čech'S 202 clean sheets may remain the final monument of a different era. An era where one man stood between the posts and built a wall that no one has been able to climb since. But what do you think? Will any goalkeeper ever come close to Petr Čech'S record? Or is this truly one of the few records in football that will never be broken? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Premier League history, make sure to subscribe for more football analysis and storytelling.